Boom, we're recording. Welcome, everybody. So glad you could make it. It's the third Thursday, and it is October, and we got lots of cool stuff to talk about. And the first thing I want to talk about is there was an event in Portland last weekend, and a lot of you guys are from that area or close to it, and some had to drive a little distance. And so I want to hear about it. I missed it, and I know, hold on, and I also know that, there's some people that just can't get there, and I wanted you guys who did make it to take a moment and share a couple takeaways, because it's a great chance to have community, and that's kind of what this is community as well, but that's community on a little bigger level. And there's also events that are happening across the U.S., so we can always plug you in and help plug you in to those events as well. So I know when I talked to Shelly Anderson, she was saying one of the big takeaways for her was Don Chow talking about, I didn't take notes on that one, basically about kicking fear in the face of just going ahead and doing it. Is that the right, did I get that summation right? Those, Shannon, you were there, Jeff and Cynthia,
yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, it was a good exchange between Brad and Dawn, kind of sharing the health assessment and talking to potential clients. It really helped me to the back and forth between the two of them, and they seem so big in this program, but hearing what their fears and intensity and questions were in the beginning helped me to understand that I'm not alone and kind of how to tackle those things.
Awesome, great. And don't forget, you guys, on the Life Changers page was actually the recording. Cynthia popped those on there for us. So this is kind of a teaser to have you kind of go look and listen to it for yourself as well. And I think, Shannon, did you have anything else you wanted to share about the event?
Well, I could share a lot about it, but I think it was an incredible event. It moved very quickly, but a lot of good information, a lot of different ways of doing it. They had panel discussions, and they had back and forth, and then they had, what was her name? Paula Holt was amazing. She was the one that was talking about the internal and external giants and fear and all that stuff. So that was an incredible presentation.
Oh, good.
Yeah, It was great.
So we weren't necessarily talking about this is how you do the program. It's more about what's going on with your head, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How about you, Jeff and Cynthia? Did you have anything?
In the beginning, the panel was really about emphasizing the four legs of the stool, the importance of all the different, everyone talked about kind of what their favorite thing was, whether it was community or whether it was the book or blah, blah, blah. But my favorite was Paula Holt too. She used the analogy of her family, because, Wes was a big football player, her husband, and they had 3 boys, and the first 2 were just like Wes. They're built sturdy, and they're very competitive, and they were football players. And then the youngest came along, and he was just different. He was scrawny and skinny and didn't have a competitive bone in his heart. And then when he was a sophomore in high school, he said to Paula, "Mom, I'd like to play football." And she said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah, I do." And she said, and you know what? It was kind of heartbreaking, because he was really getting beaten up. He was You know, I mean, he just wasn't the same sturdy kid. And then one day he came home and he said, I learned something. He said, when I'm on the offensive and I hit first, he said, it doesn't hurt. And she said, you know, it's the same for us being victims or being our self-advocates on programs. Like when we go out to social events and things like that, when people say, oh my gosh, I got there and there was nothing I could eat. So I had the spaghetti and things because there was nothing. And, I had to have drinks or whatever it was. She said, that's being beaten up. And so instead she talked about taking the initiative, taking the first hit, calling someone up and saying, hey, I want to bring something over. Just, and they say, no. And she says, I'm just going to do it anyway. And bring something you can eat to share with everyone, or to plan to have, bring your own sparkling water in pretty glass and just have that. It was about making a plan and being on the offense instead of being surprised and being moved over by life.
Cool. Okay, great. This is really tantalizing me. I haven't listened to the recording yet. So, I see those numbers, honestly, you guys, I see those huge numbers and I go, oh, I'm not going to listen to that. So now I'm going, I'm going to have to at least fast forward to these spots. Definitely. All right. What about you, Jeff? Anything?
Yes. Hard is not a fact. It's a feeling. And instead of using the word struggle, word fight for, and so it's just those words you use for yourself. You say to yourself, instead of struggling as a point of dependency versus, I'm fighting for this. You're putting yourself in power. You're taking control, and you're fighting, moving forward.
So going from that victim to being the one choosing.
Right.
Got it. Love it. All right. Cool. And I heard there's 2 options that they have not totally set the date yet. I'll reach out to Terry again to find out if they have. I heard the 4th or the 11th of November. Oh, excuse me. So we'll know more very soon, I'm sure. I'm sure right now everybody's head is into Sundance. So prepping for Sundance. And that's coming up this following weekend. Not this weekend, but the following one. So everybody's arriving and so on and so forth. All right. So that's one thing. So I got one thing marked off my little box. The trilogy Zoom. Did you guys see that in Terry Miller's page? The pursuit of, okay. And
yeah.
Did you see the video that she had to how to invite and follow up? Yep.
Yes.
Good. All right. So we don't have to worry about that. That's coming up this Sunday, right? Reach out to as many people as you possibly can, because what we are coming upon is the fall Christmas season. And then January 1 hits. And it's time for us to start funneling those people now and getting them aware of health, and that this is something that they can do during the holiday season, because there's some people that just totally freak out and go, oh no, I can't do it. So this is this will be a great Zoom based on the fact that the people will be on it that will say, hey, I started during the holidays. It may have been tough, or I managed to get through it without a problem. I know it just really changes your focus on where you're going. So this Sunday, 6 o'clock, our time. Everybody's got the Zoom number. Follow up, right?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So zooming right along. There is a special training coming up that y'all are invited to. And that y'all is in Phoenix, Arizona, the first weekend of December. And so does everybody know about that? They all heard about it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, we got some no's, we got some yeses. All right, so what it is they recognize that not everybody could make it to Sundance because there's so few people that are allowed into Sundance. It sells out. Actually, I think this is the first year that it totally sold out early. Anyway, some of our leaders, basically in Terry's line and some of the presidentials, do you guys realize that we got a pretty powerful set of presidentials in the Miller line? And they all got together and decided that they wanted to do kind of a trickle-down training for everybody that is wanting to grow their business. Those that are really working hard to grow their business, but missed out on Sundance. So what it is this a qualification. And, you know, some of you guys aren't at that qualification quite yet. However, it's something very easily to strive for. Okay, ready? Qualification is being an integrated health coach, basically, and having 1 or 2 senior coach legs. And integrated means the 6,000 frontline volume, right? So that's what they're looking for. And they want us to be qualified. If you've been executive director before, they want you qualified at that $6,000 plus frontline volume for 2 of the 3 months. That's September, October, November. Well, guess what, hooty hoo? None of you guys have been executive directors, you other guys. So all it takes is being executive director for the very first time in the month of November. So you can do October and November. That's awesome too. But that is something to really strive for, right? It's totally doable because, because I get to see your guys' volume. I kind of know you can do it because you've either been halfway there or 3/4 of the way there. So let's do more. So dig in with your mentor coach that you're working with, and we can set out a plan for you. And, who cares if you don't make it in October? What if you make it in November? Or what if you get really close and you don't make it in November either? You know what else there is besides the December training? There's this other little cool thing that the company does. It's called Go Global. Anybody ever heard of Go Global?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've got some qualifications for that. And that's 3 out of the 6 months needing to be executive director. And the 6 months started September 1. So September 1 through March 31st. So opportunity for more training. So, all right. So did I confuse everybody yet? No? Woo, hallelujah. Usually I confuse when it comes to giving all the qualifications and the thises and the thous. Let's see, what do I have? So the big goal on the December and the Go Global, which is April, is to have yourself some health coaches in the whole deal. So be all about who are you going to sponsor, right? So have a chat with your mentor coaches so that you know what your plan is. Because if you don't have a plan, how are you going to get there? You got to have a roadmap, right? Because I tell you, I've done some things without a roadmap, and it's not pretty. And it takes me a really, really, really long time. So, all right, so we're running down this thing, Go Global. So Go Global is, put it on your calendar. Got your phone out? I'm waiting. On the phone, okay.
Old school.
Right. Old school. Don't forget to put it in your phone. April 12th. Okay, and you know where it's at? I might actually be excited about this one. April 12th in Orlando, Florida. That might be a trip to Orlando that's worth it. Normally, we go to Orlando when it's like hot and humid and nasty hot. It's like, who wants to be in Orlando in July? And that's usually when we go. but it's April 12th through the 15th, Orlando, Florida. Executive director, and that, remember, it's executive director. So you don't have to have the 6,000 frontline volume. You can be blended. And blended means you have senior coaches and enough volume to equate out to 5 points. So isn't that cool?
Yes,
Yes.
it is very cool.
And you know what? You strive for it. In October, you don't get it, but what happens? You get more clients. You strive for November, maybe you don't get it,
Buddy.
but you're working with coaches and more clients. The same way with December. If you're, if you hit executive director for the first time, you won't have to be 3 times. Is that right, Cynthia? I'm thinking that's right. The first time that you hit executive director. Problem being here, Rocket, is it sells out. They try to hold back enough for the brand new baby executive directors that hit executive director first time. But it has a tendency to sell out. It has the last 2 years. So be hitting and work it now. Okay, questions? No? Well, I have to get out tickets for you guys to interact. Oh, goodness.
Yes.
We're good listeners.
Well, I know I'm not explaining it that well so that it's just, clear as mud. So definitely let's, when you're going to come up with questions, and that is totally cool, and I encourage it, and put those on the Life Changers. So, because there's a few people that aren't here today, and there's a few people that will say that they wanted to listen to the recording, but don't listen to the recording. And then that will just tickle their fancy and get their interest going. Okay? So do that for me.
And the calendar of events is in Coach Connection, under events. So it's all in one spot if you want to do it later.
If you want to do it later, plan your year. And if we put in I thought I printed the darn thing out. Yes, it's really cool. Coach Connection. Go to events, and then it says to save the date. And I have it here somewhere amongst all my massive paper that I here. Proof in the pudding. And then let's see. Dun. And then conventions on your calendar too, right, guys? July 19th, 2nd in St. Louis.
Better be.
Better be on their
Yes,
calendar.
it's on the calendar.
The question is the registration purchased yet?
I have a conflict with work. It's anniversary sale and I work for Nordstrom. So unless I quit my job or am in a different position, which I'm striving to get into a different position, I might be affected by that. So no, I haven't bought my ticket yet, but I'm anticipating going. It's on my roadmap.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Now, the other thing is we posted in Free to Be and I believe in Life Changers regarding the Thriving Through the Holidays focus group. Y'all in it?
Yep.
Yep. Barbara, you in it?
I'm not, because I don't quite understand what all it involves.
Got it. Thank you for asking that question. Because I will tell you a little bit of what it involves. It involves you hopping in there and inviting clients and pre-clients of people who want to just have a health focus. Okay? And it's just a very interactive, amazingly large group that it looks like we're going to have a video every day. And they're awesome little videos. And what's really great also is it's an opportunity to swipe some of their pictures, swipe some of the good stories, and put it on your timeline as well. But what happens through this time of year for the newbies is that people begin to focus on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they can't do program, or they've got all these parties, and they have a tendency to go astray. And us as coaches get kind of frustrated with that. And it's more people speaking into them regarding health. And that's all we want, is for them to be one healthy step closer each and every day. And sometimes it's really hard for us to convey that to them one-to-one, but in a group situation with all these neat and new ideas that you may have already told that client, then they watch it on a video by somebody else, and it's like the world has opened up to them. But it's just a great opportunity to really promote health and keep us in the forefront of their thoughts. And if they are not on program, most people make a decision early part of December what they're going to do for their New Year's resolution. And if you have not really spoken into them, and they look to you as health and a reason for getting healthy, and you're the answer to their healthy process, they'll go on their little merry way for January and not call you up. So, and then February, some of them fall off, and then you let them recoup them until March. You don't want that to happen. Okay. Does that answer your question, Barb?
So this is for people who are not on program as well?
I wouldn't put it any just willy-nilly. I would put it as people that are real close, that you've talked program, they understand who you are, and that you are their go-to person for program. I wouldn't just willy-nilly put a bunch of people in there, because us coaches have really great integrity, but sometimes that slips, and something goes awry, and a client goes, oh, but they had all this nifty stuff on the page, and I want them because they have nifty stuff. So I don't want you to be worried about that, but it's something to know that you've got to have a good connection with that client or prospective client before you put them in the group. Okay? That's just my many years in the business speaking. So yeah, would you like me to add you, Barb, and you can even watch it for a few days? You can always pull out.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll put you in there. It's just, I don't know, got some great stuff, and it's kind of nice to hear it from somebody else. And
Well, this is my first holidays on program, and I'm supposed to be coaching people through it, and I haven't done it myself, and that's a big concern.
Sorry.
Because I want to make sure.
Come here.
it is. I get that.
I want to make sure that I can coach them properly.
Yes, and this is a great opportunity, and this is a great assist in that as well.
Okay.
And you can always reach out and ask questions on Life Changers. Give us a buzz whenever you have a concern as well. And we'll have another, is the third Thursday Thanksgiving for November? Let me look. No, it is not. So we'll be talking a lot more about it on the third Thursday again in November. And we'll post some more helpful hints and try and put some things in the file section of the Life Changers as well that you can grab and be able to share with your clients. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Cool. I think that's about it, because I've already talked about the New Year ramp up. So now's the time to be thinking about how you want your new year to look, and really map it out. It's real important that you are starting right now of laying the groundwork and planting the seeds of health, and that you are the one for health. I'm finding it's 6 weeks usually from meeting someone and talking with them about health, and once they it's about a 6-week follow-up process in reality. So what you're doing today is going to pan out the middle of December. That's why we're ramping everything up now and getting people thinking about that. Cool. Any questions? I got 2 minutes to spare. All righty. Well, you sure there's no questions? Any concerns?
Sorry about your Cubs, Shannon.
I know they're getting creamed. It's really kind of sad.
Trish, you had something to say? I had muted you.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Have you guys? I have a client that's used to be a client, and they coached through someone else, and now they're going to go through the transfer process. It's a relative of mine. How do you start them out fresh? How would I? Maybe it's a further conversation outside of this, but.
Yeah, let's talk some more about it. However, anytime somebody restarts, because we are now Optavia, it's like I introduce it to them as going, oh, cool, you're back on track. And we've changed a whole bunch of things. There's a lot of new, really great things. I've got some new tools that I haven't had before. And I'm just going to start you out like a new baby client, because there's so many things that we forget along the way. I know you know most of it, but just as a reminder, and it's just a great way to do that little check off box.
Okay, that'll be good practice for me.
Yeah.
And I think also just going back to their why, because they might not have gotten that the first time, and it may have changed. I had someone like that today, and found out that she'd never gone through that. And really focused on and kind of asked a lot of questions. And I said, this is going to sound really stupid, but I'm going to keep asking you, why is that important to you? What's each answer? And it really made a difference in that relationship we had starting out.
Great point. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, it's awesome. And, it's everybody coaches a little bit different. And so there's no expectations of what you are going to be like compared to the other person. And that's how I just lay it out like that. And it's like, I'm a little bit different than, everybody coaches differently, and this is my style, and hope it works for you.
Great. Thanks.
Okay. All right. That's a good question, Trish.
I've got a question. Yeah, I've got a question. I talked to a client last night who doing great on the program. She's lost about 30 pounds. She's got about 12 more to go. And she's been at the same weight for like 2.5 weeks. Hasn't done anything different. Does 5 and 1 to the letter, drinks her water, gets enough sleep, low stress, all of that stuff. And she says, what can I do different? Now, I didn't have an answer other than talk to the nutritionist.
That's a perfect answer. That is perfect. And check back with her to find out if she did, because you want to find out what nutrition support had to say.
Right.
That's one thing. And then I always tell people, maybe you need to shake it up a little bit. Move your lean and green to a different time of day. And journal. Sometimes we get a little slack.
Exercise.
Yeah. Exercise, but that's shaking things up a bit as well.
Barb, I had that situation too, and I actually did a three-way call with nutrition support with them, with their permission, of course. And it was interesting because I had asked questions to them, and they answered differently than they did with nutrition support. So somehow either the questions or the way they ask, like they got different information, and it was very fascinating to hear their response, because, you know, just really knowing the real true story, nutrition support's really good. And so if you're on a three-way call, they don't have to try to remember to tell you everything nutrition support says.
Proof that. Good point, Shannon. I
Good
love
point.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else, you guys?
And the other thing I'd say is, have they done their inches recently too? Because they may not be losing weight, but they're going to be shrinking. And that's,
Mhm.
even if they haven't, just having that number that's gone down helps with the head stuff.
Yeah,
Big time.
yeah.
Let's
We
necessarily-
we did a quick BMI when I was on the phone with her. I hopped on the computer, and you know, her BMI is 26 now, so it's normal range. You know, she was like almost a diabetic when we first started. So yeah, it's my sister too, and
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
yeah, it's pretty neat. So
That's awesome.
That is fabulous. That's
yeah,
it always feels good when you know you can help somebody you really love, huh?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
Thank you, Hive Mind. I appreciate the input.
That's what this is about. Exactly. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to stop the recording.